Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Ask the Expert session for Digital Breakout 127, Future of Customer Care, What is New for Dynamics 365, Customer Service and Field Service. We'll be going over some quick housekeeping items, and then we'll be handing it over to our experts. Quickly, some housekeeping items on how to engage with our experts. Please enter your questions in the chat. Your questions will appear to the attendees once they've been approved by our moderator. Please vote for your favorite questions using the thumbs up once you see them. Our experts will answer them verbally and over chat, and they'll also provide you with resources throughout the session and again at the end of the session so that you have more information and places to learn about the information we provide today. A quick note as well, this session will be recorded. We ask that you help out our moderators and do not spam or post inappropriate comments in the chat. And we ask that you adhere to the Microsoft Code of Conduct. It has been posted in the chat, and I'll show it up here on the screen right now for everyone to review. As I mentioned, this session is being recorded. We do ask that you do not photograph or video the session on your own. And with that, I will let our experts introduce themselves and get the session started. Deanna, I'll let you kick it off.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. Hello, everyone. My name is Deanna Sparks. I'm the Technical Product Marketing Manager for Dynamics 365 Customer Service and Field Service.
Yeah. Hi there, I'm Kyle Young. I'm representing the field service team today.
Hi folks, this is Tom Yang. I'm the Global Sales Director for Dynamics Customer Service.
Hello everyone, I'm Kos Srivastava. I'm a Product Manager with Dynamics Customer Service. Excited to be here.
Oh, sorry. Hello everyone, my name is Hamid Abdelaziz. Supporting the customer service today. I'm an MVP business application. Thank you for joining us today.
Well, perfect. With that, I think we'll open it up to questions. So please, again, feel free to type in the Q&A there. I think, Deanna, perhaps you want to do a quick rundown for folks of some of the major pieces that was announced in the last session through the keynotes across the service stack, just to give folks a little recap.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you were able to attend Alyssa Taylor's key segment earlier today, you might have seen that we introduced our new native voice channel in Dynamics 365 Customer Service. So it's very exciting, and I'm sure a lot of you have questions around that particular capability. Then moving to the next session, which is associated with this particular Ask the Experts, was the Future of Customer Care, What's New and What's Next for Dynamics 365 Customer Service and Field Service. There we continued a deeper look at our new native voice channel capability, as well as our continued enhancements with AI built in at every step along the customer service journey. Then we also took a quick look at some of the newer capabilities around remote assist, including a demo of the one-time call feature. And then we finished off with some of the great new enhancements with the Wave 2 release with Field Service, where we covered the new schedule board as well as inspections and a quick view into the new mobile capabilities. So that's a little bit of a recap for what we've covered so far today, and we'd be happy to answer questions around any of those that you may have had during those particular sessions or any other questions that you guys have today.
Perfect. Hey, I know from the last session, since we're continuing a little bit, in this Ask the Experts from the last breakout session that we had around field service. And so, Kyle, this might be a couple for you here, but there's a couple questions around, obviously, all the innovations that we have in field service, and a couple in particular in terms of field service and asset management. I don't know if that's something that you wanted to speak to briefly here for the folks.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, we see asset servicing as a really key function of field service. And so we continue to deepen the asset functionality. So we've added the ability to have a functional location and represent a rich hierarchy of assets and their locations, along with a set of customer-defined properties so that we can understand those assets much more deeply. And that all ties up to the previous work that we've done with IoT, which starts to give you a really 360 view of what's happening with those assets and where they're at and what their properties are.
Oh, it's perfect. And actually one that's for you as well, Kyle, here that just came in is a question regarding field service. Is it possible to schedule work orders based on real or actual GPS locations of the technicians?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So one of the things that with optimization is that you can actually optimize based on current events and changes and things that are happening. So one of the things that we are working on more future in the roadmap is actually being able to to pull in those real-time locations and then use that as the basis for scheduling the next job. One thing that we added in this release, we're adding, which has been a long-standing need for customers, is taking into account traffic patterns. And so we call it predictive travel. So as you're looking at going from point A to point B, we recognize that doing that at 9 o'clock in the morning may be different than doing it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. And so it takes into account those historical traffic patterns when you do optimization. So it helps to make sure you get the technician in the right place at the right time.
Oh, that's great. Hey, just since we're on the field service train right now, let's keep it rolling with one more for you, Kyle. So there's a couple of questions that have come in. First is the mobile app. Does it have full offline capabilities? And second, the scheduler is only available with the service module, or might it be used to schedule activities for the sales module?
Yeah, both great questions. So first of all, yes, the new mobile application does have full and rich offline capabilities. We will continue investing heavily in that throughout Wave 2. So you've seen the capabilities that are a part of early access, those things that we're shipping in October. And if you look on the website, you can see that we have functionality that's coming in even in the December timeframe. So we encourage you to definitely check out the app. One of the things that will be coming in shortly in the October wave is the ability to have sync filters. So that's really necessary to have offline work. So the second question is a good one as well, regarding things that can be scheduled with the scheduling system. So we designed the scheduling system so that you could actually schedule basically any entity that exists inside of CDS. So it comes out of the box being able to schedule work orders and doing scheduling inside of customer service and then the PSA functionality or project ops functionality. But it's very easy, non-developer experience, to say if you want to schedule opportunities or leads, those are entities that can be scheduled as well. So you can actually turn those into something that by lighting that up in the configuration, you'd be able to do that. You could actually see those on the schedule board. You could match them with the right resources based on skills and so forth. That's all possible with the scheduling system.
Yeah, that's great. And look, I've had a lot of conversations with customers and partners on that piece because, as you mentioned, scheduling first initially came out of field service, right? Then it was kind of broadened out to be service. And I think that's an area that a lot of organizations are finding utility in to say, hey, we have a need to schedule anything, even custom entities, et cetera, because our business doesn't just do a field service, work order or a case, right, that needs to be scheduled. But what about all these other things that we track? And think about, using the schedule board and the schedule engine, if you will, alongside a Power App to be able to say, I've got a custom need, a custom app, and now I'm able to draw back into the dynamic scheduling engine for that, right? Unified resource scheduling. So
correct. Yeah. So anything that sits in CDS, you can set that up to be scheduled.
Absolutely. No, thanks, Kyle. I'll kind of take another topic here, which is that question around PVA. And the question is, in essence, hey, previously Power Virtual Agents had listed in release notes a voice channel, then it was moved. What does that look like, especially with the announcements that we have around voice? So real quick, just to recap what that announcement is as part of the first party voice channel, you might have seen in the session, Power Virtual Agents will be one of the mechanisms that we use, for example, for the interactive virtual agent. How do I build a virtual agent that's deployed to the voice channel that can ask questions, etc.? So that is something that's coming as part of the Dynamics 365 customer service work. Power Virtual Agents, as many of you might know as well, is also a standalone capability that you can use on top of any system. And so Power Virtual Agents, from a standalone perspective, will have the Alexa channel lighting up, and that's on the public release notes, and with future voice capabilities yet to be announced. So stay tuned for that, but the Power Virtual Agents voice capabilities that we're talking about now are specifically in the context of the first-party voice channel that's been announced. Let's see, a couple of other questions that are coming in. And feel free again, folks, if you didn't catch at the beginning of the Q&A session, there's a Q&A place for you to go ahead and list some of the questions. So there's a question around the new voice option, and will that be similar to chat as a separate add-on license that includes omni-channel access, or will the two only be bundled together? And I see Raj is responding in text here. The licensing and packaging will be finalized and more information will be shared as we get closer to general availability there. Can customer service email work like Zendesk, reply above the line rather than showing the full email thread? I think that might be something that Cause, I don't know if you guys want to weigh in, but there's a lot of work going on in terms of the authoring experience, not only for emails, but for rich text, for other things as well. So Cause, maybe I'll turn it over to you for that one.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think there have been investments that we've been making across just core usability and experiences across emails, timeline. Actually, with the Wave 2, you'll start seeing a completely brand new experience for customer service called Customer Service Workspace that actually takes the entire application and makes it, multi-session. So there's a lot of focus and investment on having all these interactions be better. What I'd love for you guys to do is try out, the new capabilities that we're bringing in email, notes, timeline, and start giving feedback on if you guys are liking it or however we can improve those capabilities further.
Perfect. I think moving on to some of the other questions that we have, what top resources would you recommend if we're looking to showcase why our organization might move from our existing CRM and phone system to Dynamics 365 for sales and service with voice? Good question there. And, this is something that I think you guys caught. This is an early announcement. We're entering a limited public preview here coming up shortly. And so this is a solution that will evolve over the next few weeks and months. And so that's where we, of course, will continue to publish information on, kind of public forums, such as the documentation, through preview programs, through some additional webinars and things like that. So that's where I would say, hey, continue to watch the space, especially if you're thinking about in the medium term for your organization to say, how do we go to that unified solution? Now, as Deanna mentioned in the last session, this is a set of options that we want to make available because we've heard so many organizations ask, I want a CRM system, I have phone, I want ACD, I want IVA, I want all of that in as simple a package as possible. How do I get that? And that's a big piece of why we made these investments to say, look, the focus should be on the customer outcome. How do we reduce a lot of the friction for piecing together technology? But having said that, there's also still the partners that we go to market with from a contact center solution, telephony and voice perspective. So for every single customer, it may be different. And what we want to do here is to provide you more options that you have. But to come back to that question, please check back on the websites, the customer service landing page, and other areas in our documentation for additional information that will be published over the next few weeks and months. So Kyle, I think you just answered in text. I think we're doing both verbal and text here. Maybe on just that RSO piece, because I know that this was a question that came up in the last session. And you can probably answer this with one word, but hey, is RSO still available? Can you talk to me about kind of the high level direction that RSO is taking? If you don't mind taking that, Kyle.
Yeah, sure. So RSO is Resource Scheduling Optimization, and it's an add-on for field service to the base scheduling system. And what it does is it uses, a version of the traveling salesman problem, if you will, doing more variables than you can do in your head to find the best routes for a set of resources across a set of work orders that need to be done, or a set of scheduled jobs that need to be done. And so yes, it is still available, and we're seeing increasing customer interest in that. One of the investments we're making in this wave is to embed optimization right into that scheduling experience, right into the schedule board. So you don't have to go to a different location. It just lights up easily. You can start by scheduling a single resource or what you see on the board. And so it has a lot of really key advantages. The Uber points here is that you get better utilization of your resources, and you're better able to meet all those customer commitments, all those time windows that are there in the system. The optimizer takes that into account, matches it with the best resources, and figures out the best way to make that all work. Part of the question was, how is it licensed? It's a separate add-on, and if you check the licensing guide, it'll have all the details on how you can take advantage of RSL.
Perfect. Thanks, Kyle. Yeah, there's another question here, and hey, bouncing around, which is all good, but can the customer service app provide push notifications on mobile? Yeah, there's a couple of components to this. One is just the events that you have. What pushes to mobile? And let's even take mobile out of the equation. What is causing and triggering the event? Those are all things that we obviously have the ability to look at within customer service, just like any of the other CE stack, right? Field service, sales, you name it. Is there a certain event? Is there a certain trigger? Is there an update to a record? Is there a record that's being created? All of these things are things that we can trigger off of. Now, as you might have seen on our public roadmap for the upcoming wave here, is additional SDK and additional let's call it engineering effort being put forward to make that super simple. So maybe Cause, if that's something that I can turn over to you, if you want to expand a little bit on some of the SDKs and the mobile APIs and such that we're putting in for customer service.
Yeah, I'm actually going to defer that to Raj. I think you'll have more of an idea on what we want to share.
Absolutely. So as Tom mentioned, there is a range of investments that we are actually making with regards to improving our overall mobile story. And notification is certainly one of those top asks that exist as part of that particular story. There are future-looking investments which are not yet published in our roadmap officially, which will help us get closer to doing mobile notifications and actually enabling those scenarios natively in our mobile application infrastructure itself. So please do keep an eye out on our release notes and documentation for the latest on that.
Oh, perfect. Thanks, Raj. Hey, one other thing that came in somewhat related from the last session as well is, and this was not necessarily, specifically called out, so folks might have missed it. So I thought I'd cover it here. But, as Deanna went through the session and she showed some of the screens and some of the solutioning, some of you may have caught that, hey, these things like topic clustering or these things that we know of as customer service insights, they now potentially have a different look and feel as part of the app. So that's another piece of the investment that we're making for the wave, is to say, customer service insights, which, just to back up a bit, many of you may or may not know, that's an operational analytics tool, in my opinion, to say, how do I look at a volume of data, a volume of cases, whether it's from Dynamics or any other system, but to look at this data and to provide me some operational insights. What kind of topics do I have? In what volume? From what channels? From what satisfaction? Across my agents, all of those things that we see from a supervisor or a managerial perspective, that's really key for operating a contact center or a customer service team. That customer service insights app was standalone. So I would log into, for example, Dynamics customer service, and I would log into customer service insights. But obviously that's not necessarily something that we want. And so it's the ability to combine those apps together to make it seamless for the user, for the agent, for the supervisor, for the managers to get their insights in the same place that they run their business. And furthermore is to cross that to say, well, these insights should drive action. So if customer service insights, if these analytics have told me that, hey, out of your last week's worth of volume, here are the 3 things that you should go focus on right now to go reduce, negative satisfaction, then I can action on that immediately within the same app. So while the big announcements that we've kind of talked about are things like the voice and additional pieces there, I also don't want to overlook the additional enhancements we're making to the core solutions, including the all-important kind of insights, right? Because that's something that I think a lot of organizations are just starting to learn about, which is, oh boy, these are insights that are granted to me as part of being on Dynamics customer service, no additional cost, etc. So we want to make sure that our customers have the ability to take advantage of that. Let's see what else, and please feel free to continue, producing the questions here. So, Raj, and maybe I know you're typing, maybe I'll ask you to speak to this. Did I get it right? With voice channel, it's possible to have a phone number per user. Can I have more details about it? So, Raj, maybe you'd like to talk a little bit about the phone number and provisioning, and perhaps the management piece overall.
Yeah, absolutely. So with the new voice channel that we're introducing, there will be phone number allocation capabilities, and there are two modes in which these phone numbers can work. As an organization, you can get one or more phone numbers and have any incoming call load balanced across a set of agents, which is where the very traditional call distribution capabilities kick in. Or if you were running a center where you're trying to do, you want to actually allow people to do direct connections to agents or your sales representatives, and you want to assign them to fixed numbers, that is possible as well. So the solution as a whole will support both those notions, so that based on the construct that you want to establish for your own service delivery, you can go ahead and model that. You are right in the sense that at launch, especially during preview, the region of support is going to be US and Canada, and by the time we make this capability generally available, we will have a roadmap for when other regions will light up as well.
Perfect. Hey, Raj, since we're on your related here, there's a question that came in that says, is the first party voice channel limited to smaller deployments, or can we position it in complex scenarios? Would you like to address that one?
Yeah, absolutely. The answer is yes, you can position it for complex scenarios. If you heard as part of Elisa's announcement this morning, our own Microsoft Customer Support Center is going to start deploying this particular solution. So you can be rest assured that you're going to get a good industry standard scale solution available to you from a formalized offering standpoint. So it's the same thing that we use internally at Microsoft as well.
Perfect. Hey, Kyle, one over to you. Does the predictive travel also work with traffic data from Europe, and what source does it use for historical traffic info?
Yeah, so that's a great question. Yeah, it does work. It does work across all regions. That we leverage the Bing Maps functionality. And so Bing has very broad coverage. If there's a specific, some very specific area, that's something to reach out. But in general, it has coverage wherever Bing Maps has historical coverage.
Perfect. Thank you, Kyle. One thing, as we kind of bounce back to the voice piece, that from the last session, some of the questions that came up is, hey, we made mention that voice, part of the value proposition, of course, is having first party voice be treated the same in kind of my parlance, if you will, is to say all channels are equal. What insights can we get from digital channels? Let's get those from voice. So Cost, maybe I'll tee up a question for you, for the team here, which is, what do we mean by that? What are the advantages that we can derive from having voice as part of our channel stack? Having the data stored in CDS. What does that allow us to do that we can't do with other solutions in the market today?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And that's really where, one of the previous questions was like, hey, how do I think about, first party voice from Microsoft as opposed to something I might have already? There are a couple of things that we can unlock that with the voice coming into the same level as every other channel. And let's just start with just our customers, right? Like your agents and your business are trying to offer a seamless connected story for your customers. And right now, 1 in 3 customers, prefer using voice as their main channel for support. So already there's a fragmentation of experiences. If they're reaching out on voice and they're reaching out from a different channel, your agents need to know exactly what happened on the other channel in a very consistent way, in a very productive way, so they're not spending so much time trying to understand different sets of tools and making those connections themselves. So having the channel data come in directly into one platform, so across chat, social, Facebook, Twitter, WhatsApp, SMS, voice, case data, email data, you have a full journey of what your customers are going through, just opens up a whole new set of possibilities. It starts with the agent, now being able to see across the 360 view of the customer, providing that personalized service. And then it goes and translates into all that data in the common data service that now our AI models and insight models can start looking at to create true omni-channel insights across the entire customer journey. So being able to say, hey, this customer has a better interaction over the voice channel versus this other channel. So when we're reaching out for proactive service, make sure we actually reach out from this channel. So these are things that weren't easy to do before. It would always require a bunch of data stitching, a bunch of integration work. Things would be fragile, expensive. And so now this becomes kind of just, it unlocks for you having all that data gravity in one spot. I think the same for the supervisor experiences, right? They're now looking at, now instead of thinking across, I have agents supporting customers over voice, and then I have other agents supporting them over chat. How do I make sure that they're all operating efficiently? How do I spend my time making sure that the customers that, or the agents that need my help, regardless of channels, can get my help when they need it? That becomes really easy with our unified dashboards, where all the channels come in the same view. You can see sentiment across all of them. You can see the same AI suggestions across all of them. So it makes life easier for a supervisor, an agent, and then anyone who's looking at your reporting to understand efficiencies when all of that data is coming into one central place.
No, that's great. I love that. Yeah, and I think, just even that one piece around the operational analytics again is such a key piece for me, because a lot of our customers have said, hey, I've got digital channels, or maybe I don't have digital channels, but I have my operations and I have voice channel, and I cannot get the two to marry together, right? Because it's two different systems or multiple vendors or even multiple clouds. How do I get that information together? And I think especially when we talk about moving across channels, serving our customers where they are best, we've got to treat them equally. Just like when I have virtual agents and human agents, I've got to be able to compare them apples to apples. Which one is best suited for these topics? Which one's not best suited for these topics? For which channels? So this is the ability for us to have that same consistent view and truly say a virtual agent on voice is best for these 25 topics. A human agent on WhatsApp is best for these 15 topics. That way we can guarantee the most optimal customer outcome, right? Perfect. Well, I think we are coming up on time here, so thank you all very much for joining. We'll continue to answer some of the questions in text here. Please remember a couple of things. There are additional sessions. Please do the evaluations for the sessions. Please also keep in mind that we have the business applications launch event coming up, so watch out for information about that. We have a blog being posted tomorrow morning from Jeff Comstock, who's the GM of engineering for customer service, the all-up lead there, and he'll be detailing some more specifics around the voice solution. And yes, thank you everybody for joining the session. Thanks all the experts here on our side for pitching in, and we hope to see you all around. Have a great rest of the day. Thank you all.